Geometrics, questions 17 through 24 for practice exam 1. Let's go ahead and get started by reading the task. In this task, we're told to finish creating a design for the web page using one shape to cut away part of the other. Now, this is one of these questions that is a little bit trickier, and we will go into the help menu to start off with this question. So we'll go down to help. It says select the rectangle 1 layer and then select the rectangle tool in the left toolbar. In order to select the rectangle 1 layer, we need to go into our layers panel. We'll go to window at the top, go down to layers, click on our rectangle layer right here, and then we're going to select the rectangle tool in the left toolbar. So that's going to be this right here, but yours might look like any of these options: a circle, a triangle, a polygon, a line, or this weird blob shape. We're going to hold down on that button and select rectangle tool to make sure we have the right thing selected. In the options bar along the top of the UI, select the path operations dropdown and choose subtract front shape. So that is going to be this option right here. We'll click down on the path operations and we're going to do subtract front shape. Next, we're going to click anywhere inside of this white rectangle. I like to click on the center, and it tells us to type in 700 for the height and 700 for the width. In this case, I did it backwards, but we're going to make sure we select from center. That's very important. We're going to click OK, and you'll see that this has successfully cut a hole in our rectangle for us. Next, we're going to click Next, and that's it. We're done with that question, and we got it correct. We'll go ahead and select Next. For this question, it says create a new group titled text and place the 2 text layers in the group. This is a question about using the layers panel and using groups. To open the layers panel, we'll go to window at the top, go down to layers right here, and that will show us all the layers of this image. We're going to need to create a new group by hitting this folder icon at the bottom. Then double click on the new folder that you just created, and we're going to call it text. Again, be very, very careful of the spelling and the capitalization. Just like in the real certification exam on Geometrics, if you don't spell it exactly the way they want it to, or the exact way they want you to, then you will get their answer wrong, even if you did everything else correct. Be very, very careful of your spelling. We're going to now add the first text layer, this one with a T, into text, and then we're going to grab the second text layer, this other one that also has a T icon, and drag it underneath the other one. When it's correct, we'll have a folder with these little T icons a little bit offset to the side. That shows it's inside of the folder. We're going to go ahead and select Next, and we've successfully placed those 2 into a folder or a group together. We'll hit Next. For task number 19, we're told to create a new file that has a width of 1094 pixels and a height of 672 pixels and name it Pamphlet, except all other default settings. So just like when we were creating the video or the document for video, we're going to be creating a new document here as well. Go to File at the top, select New, and then we're going to go to the width right here. We're going to type in 1094, and we want to make sure this is set to pixels. Again, this is very important that this is set to pixels. The height, it tells us, should be 672. And we're going to need to change the name, just like before, from Untitled 1, we're going to name it Pamphlet. And it is very, very important that you check your spelling here as always. We'll go ahead and select Create, and then we'll go to Next, and that should be correct. We'll hit Next. Task number 20, skew the circle's image in the document by giving it a horizontal skew of 2 and a vertical skew of 10. We'll go to the layers panel. If it's not already open, we can go to Window and select Layers, but in my case, I already had it open, so that just closed it. We'll go to Window and select Layers just to make sure we have the right thing open. We'll click on our circles layer right here to make sure it is active, and then go to Edit at the top, go to Transform, select Skew, and we're going to type in a value of 2 for horizontal, and a value of 10 for our vertical. And you'll see that this offsets the appearance of these circles and makes them look a little crooked, which is what we're going for. We'll go ahead and select check mark, and then we'll go to next. And then we'll go to next question. Next, task 21, change the opacity of the circles layer to 60% and change the blending mode to be hard light. So two different steps here. First, we need to change the opacity and then change the blending mode. We'll go to the circles layer first, and then we're going to go to the opacity right here, and we're going to type in 60. So 60, and that makes it look a little faded so we can see through it. Then we're going to change our blending mode right here, this drop-down menu. We're going to select hard light. You'll see that these farther change the appearance of our layer. Now these are always an interesting thing to experiment with and can give some creative flair to whatever designs you're working on. For now though, we'll go ahead and select next. And again, we're correct. Task 22, change the font of the word cafe to be Verdana with a size of 80 points. To change the font of the word, we're going to double click the T on our cafe layer here, that letter T, and that's going to select our text. From here, we're going to go to our font at the top where it says Arial, and we're going to start typing in Verdana, V-E-R-D-A-N-A, and if it doesn't tell us a specific style, we can assume it's Verdana regular they are looking for. Next, we need to change the font size, and we can do that right here next to these two T's. We're going to just double click this on the number and type in 80, and then click on the check mark to save our change, and that should be it. We'll go ahead and select next, and we have finished with that question. Task number 23, you are creating a poster that will be printed. Select the correct color mode. Now it looks like this one is not loading properly for us, unfortunately. So there is a chance that we're going to have to skip over this question. But let's see if we can force this to load first. We'll go ahead and select back, and then we'll just go forward again. And if we're lucky, maybe this time it will load. We'll see. There we go. So if it ever gets stuck like that, just hit back, hit forward, and hopefully it will work out. Now this is a question where we are interacting with sort of a fake PhotoShop, and they want us to choose which of these different color modes available to us are best for printing. The options are RGB color, CMYK color, lab color, or this 8 bits per channel. Let's talk about these options. RGB color is a format that's used for putting things out in digital. So you'll be uploading these online or sharing pictures to people's phones. That's all RGB color. Next, we have CMYK color. CMYK is what is most often used for printing and is the correct answer we're looking for here. We'll go ahead and select on CMYK, and that should light up. The next option on here is lab color. Now, I'm not an expert in this subject, but my understanding is that lab color is going to be used in really high-end print setups that are far beyond what we're capable of doing here. Lastly, we have this 8 bits per channel. And this is not directly related to printing, so it isn't really a consideration here. Again, the correct answer is CMYK color, and we're going to go ahead and select next. And lastly, task number 24. Export a 50% quality JPEG of the horizon image, give it a width of 480 pixels and a height of 270 pixels, accept all other defaults, and save the image to the default location. Now, this one might end up being a little bit tricky. We'll see. There might be some technical difficulties on this. We're going to go to File at the top, select Export, go to Export As, and it tells us to select 50%. Well, there's an immediate obvious problem here, and that is that the scale does not use percentages. For this question, it's just asking us to put this roughly in the middle of the slider here, in between low and high, so 50% is right in the middle. We'll make sure that our format right here is selected to JPEG. It might not be already, but just double check on that. And it tells us to change the size to a width of 480 pixels and a height of 270 pixels. Accept all other defaults and save the image to the default location. So we'll go ahead and select Export. And this is where things get a little tricky. We need to specify where we're saving this to. We're going to need to go to a very specific address here. So we'll go to Windows on the left, and then we'll go to Users. We'll go to your name or your username, so in this case, M. Youngman for me. And then we'll go down to Documents, Geometrics Templates, Photoshop, and then we'll just go ahead and select Save finally. There's a chance this question won't work properly on your computer, so please ask for help if you need it, and I'll be able to help you as soon as I can. For now though, we'll go ahead and select Next to see if we did this correct, and fingers crossed, we did it correct. That's going to wrap up this next section of 8 questions, all the way up through task 24 of Practice Assessment 1. Thanks for following along, and make sure you submit your screenshot of your progress so far so I can give you your credit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all back in class. Bye now.